Now am I live? Hello. Let's see. What? I can't. It says now. Let's see what YouTube says. I've been talking to myself apparently, and it hasn't been live, even though OBS says, there we go. It wasn't live. So, all right. That's crazy. So I'm not going to repeat all that stuff I said before. You just missed it. That's it. Live with it. It was the secret to the universe. The winning numbers for the next 10 lotteries. I, had a dream and got them. I just gave them out. You missed it. So it's live now because I watched it on YouTube. I'm still here with myself. That's good. If you're watching it now, thank you. If you're watching it later, thank you. Like, subscribe. Like, I'm at 79 subscribers. Trying to tip it over to 80. So tell everybody you know. Stop strangers on the street. Tell them about it. I need to pass out some more business cards. I got some more printed up. So if you want me to send you a business card, leave me a comment. Tell me how to get you one. You know stamps are going to go up to like 66 cents. So it'd be, if gas was cheaper, it'd be almost just as easy for me to drive to your house and give it to you. But it's probably not. Camping. That's what we're going to be talking about tonight. And if you watched one of my other videos about help me understand, you know my luck with camping lately. Because it's my nice big campers trashed. I'm afraid to take it on the road because it might not be structurally sound to take on the road. People don't want to fix campers. Anyway, so that leads me to tonight's story. I'm going to go with the phrase that I've heard, a term I've heard, and it's called glamping. Now, it didn't make a lot of sense to me either when I heard it, but we'll look it up here in a second. And we'll talk about glamping. Why? Why are we going to talk? Is the glare off my head blinding anybody? Yeah. If you notice anything different about me, then you win the prize. I'm changing the lights, action, camera. Yep. So just to touch on that, I made a video. And if you want to know why I don't have any hair currently, or my hair's extremely short, you can watch that one. And as everybody knows, I cannot type without looking at it. Plus I do it one-handed. Alright, glamping. Man, there's a website, glamping.com. Oh, man. I don't like their definition of glamping. I mean, I guess in a way it's truthful. Let me get this on here. Okay. Let's minimize me. Whoop. And do that. Alright, so glamping is where stunning nature meets modern luxury. No. The way to experience the untamed and completely unique parts of the world without having to sacrifice creature comforts. No. No. Glamping is when you go camping and you just take nice things with you. You don't have to go to watch elephants graze in the tundra. or see buffalo bison, roaming the Great Plains of the United States, right? I can't hear because of the glare. Yes, you are right, Robert. Let me dim down that forehead. There it is. Beaver Creek around Applebee's. You could go glamping there, right? Glamping is not, to me, glamping is not where you go, all right? It's how you go or how you stay there. So, camping. You go someplace and you take, let's just say, you take a tent and a sleeping bag and a fold-up chair, all right, and stuff to make a fire, and maybe something to cook and eat with. That's camping. Yeah, you go out, you collect the old wood, you get you a fire going, you sit next to the fire, you set up your tent, you eat your beanie weenies, you tell lies around the campfire, drink some cold beverages, and you go to bed and you wake up the next day. That's camping. Now, glamping, in my book, it's not about, glamping movement is growing and showing no signs of slowing down. I mean, I can kind of see that. The reason of that, of course, is technology, advancements and that kind of stuff. Satellite, or not satellite, but cell phones, mobile data. Most all campgrounds that you go to that are organized, business campgrounds or campgrounds where you'd pay to go and stay, have some form of Wi-Fi, so you could watch movies, you could do things that you normally couldn't do, that kind of stuff. So I think glamping is a step beyond that because most everybody can do that, right? So camping has evolved, and it used to be what once was glamping is now just camping. So to go glamping, you've got to go beyond what just plain camping is. Are you confused yet? I'm getting there. So anyway, why do I bring this up? Well, because like I said, my camper, which used to be considered a glamper, because why? Because it has, amenities. It has a sink. Most all campers do. What other amenities did it have? It had a slide out, or it still has a slide out. It's just kind of broken, right? So, and it has provisions for, stereo TV, and, has a microwave. It has an oven. Those things are. Hi, Cleo. Yep, my hair. You shouldn't be surprised. You're supposed to be keeping up with all my videos. I put a video out last weekend. This should be no surprise to you, because as an avid follower of Minutes with Milo show, you should be there for every loving moment. You should just wait by your phone and get all the notifications and watch them. But I did do a video of me cutting my hair, and it was the anniversary. We watched it. Good. Well, then you understand. It was the anniversary of me shaving it off last year. Now, I didn't go slick bald this time. That was just like way too much work. Now, if you did it on a regular basis and you had it down, lint. If you had it down to a good routine, I could see that. Okay? So, zip, 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 and be done with it. It's just way too much work for me. So, I just left it at, no guard, trimmed it all down. My camper is broke. It, to me, is camping now, but it's not glamping. You've got to be stepping up in the world. I mean, almost now with glamping, you got to have a portable hot tub. You got to have like surround sound TV. You got to have a flat screen inside, a flat screen outside, a stupid, barbecue grill that comes out of the side of your camper. You got to have fly netting and bug zappers and all this other kind of stuff. So, cornhole, you don't have to be glamping to have cornhole, right? The only thing you need is a corn and some holes. And you got made. Just, chuck those little corns at the hole and win the game. Even though cornhole, I didn't play it much. I think me and Clell played it one time when we were camping, not glamping. But up on, Natural Tunnel, I think, where we were, if I remember semi-correctly, through the haze and the fog. But at that company picnic we had, when two new guys were supposed to show up, and I don't think they ever did, we played cornhole a lot, and it was pretty fun. Glamping. Monster campfires. Yes, you got to have the biggest, roaringest campfire and burn up all your wood the very last night. You save it. You skimp throughout the first couple of nights or week or whatever. Then the last night, you start pouring it on, and then you're afraid you're going to catch the woods on fire, so you stop. Campers broke. Had reservations. I still have reservations. Had a campground where you can walk to the beach. And I wish I could remember the name of it. It's just one of those island places in North Carolina. There's not that many where you can stay. I think it's down there on Merle's Inlet. Anyway, you can stay there. You can get your stuff in a little old wagon and pull it down to the beach, and you're at the beach. So they're very hard to come by. Right? And like anything else, it's going crazy. You used to be able to stay even in the state parks in North Carolina or Tennessee or Georgia, any of these places. State parks were the cheap places because a lot of times you don't have full hookup. You have water, electricity. You have to tote your poop and the gray water to a dump station, right? So, it used to be like $30, $35, cheap. We paid $60. Looking at next year, it's the reservations for next year, or even though they're full, are $80 a night. $80 a night. To go camping with no full hookup. $80 a night. Holy crap. So anyway, my big camper's broke. My little camper, my vintage camper, it's no better now than when I pulled it home 2 years ago. I don't know why. I keep waiting for those little vintage elf guys to come along and fix that thing. And somehow they keep passing me by, putting me off, and they never come by and fix the silly thing. So it's still where it was. So what are we going to do? We've got reservations and a nice campground. We don't have a camper. We're going to go glamping. Now, how does that work? So you buy a tent off of eBay, and daggone it, I'm trying to remember the name of this. This isn't a Coleman. This isn't a Walmart special. This is like a Winker Hinkle something that supposedly this company, family company, has been making tents since Omar was around, and I'd never heard of them before, but they make this decent tent. And my thing about a tent is I want to be able to stand up. Not maybe in 100% of the tent, because, hey, it's a tent. But Okay, here it is. But I want to be able to stand up in it. So, you know, if I'm putting on my drawers, getting ready to go to the beach, I don't have to bend over and hop around on one leg to try to do that. Oh my gosh. Would somebody teach this dude how to type? Okay, here we go. Let me get this thing up and going here. Now, don't be shocked by the price because I didn't pay this price. This is right off their website. So, where'd it go? Let me get me down here, move me up to there, and do this. There you go. All right. So, Wenzel Klondike 8. I think, I don't know, the one I got's an 8. Mine's an older one. Okay. But it's new, supposedly. Got it off eBay. And it's supposed to be new. Not just like new, but new. Anyway. So, we're going to take a tent. And I know what you're thinking because I thought it. You're going to beach camping in a tent. You're a total moron. I'm right there with you. I'm right there with you. But we got a week's a week at reservation that you just can't get. If you tried to go right now to this campground and get you another vacation next year, I bet you couldn't find 6 or 7 days, maybe 4 days, maybe 4 days in a row without having to move to another site in the same site. So if you don't care, you could go and stay 3 days at one site, pull up camp, move, across the campground and spend another 2 days. That wouldn't be hard, but to find one where you could go, well, I say it wouldn't be hard. It might be hard. You might be able to, but to be able to find one where you get to, put your tent, your camp or whatever and stay the whole 6 days, you just wouldn't be able to do it. So we've got them. We want to use them. I'm not going to rent a camper, So did the next best thing and bought a tent. Now, why would I consider this glamping? It's just a tent, right? Well, it's got a screen room. Okay, it's got a privacy curtain thing. It's got a big old room in there, right? So I'm not like Clell. I don't have the fancy cot that keeps me up off the ground, even though it looks like that would be cool. But so we've got I got 2 air mattresses, okay? 2, because we already had one that was made for a single person. So we just bought another single, right? So that'd be why spend money on a big blow up thing where you bounce this side and the other side shoots up in the air. They come down, bounce this side, and shoot you up in the air. No, we're gonna have 2 separate, air mattresses. Okay. Let's see if I can fix it. If I can see, where are my? Are there not more pictures than that picture? Oh yeah, there's more pictures. They're just the same stupid front door picture. Surely there's got to be more than that. Okay. Oh, here we go. All right. So now this is called. I wish I could remember a guide vent. Let's see if it shows it down in here. Gear room, relax in, 2 mesh, keep bugs out, breeze in, additional rear mesh vent creates ground breeze. Okay. So they're calling it, before when you looked at it on eBay, this was called a guided, like a guide wire vent. So this is a flap, as you can tell, that, yeah, okay, fart flap. Yeah, we go with that. So as you can tell, see, it's zippered. All right, and this is in the back of the tent on the ground. So underneath here, you pull that out, stake it down, and there's a vent, a screen mesh on the inside of it. Does this make you dizzy when I do that? So I'm thinking, what? Come on, you know what glamping needs? Glamping needs an air conditioner. You're right. And that's where I go from, hey, that's a pretty nice camping setup, to them dudes are glamping. They've got an air conditioner stuffed in the hole in the back of a tent, and they're running it. I haven't done it yet, so maybe there's still hope for them. Maybe there's still hope for them. I don't know. Will it work? Sure, it'll work. Would it work good? Probably not. Probably not. I mean, it's a dang tent. This is what I say every time I see these people. These people with a tent, with an air conditioner shoved in the hole in the side of the tent, is okay. So maybe it's not 95 degrees in a tent. All right? Running on solar, not wind. Buddy, I'm thinking this is going to be full plugged into the wall. So, instead of being 95 in the tent, man, maybe it's going to be 85. Maybe it'll be 70. If it's 70, I would consider it working extremely well. I mean, I don't have really high expectations here, but I hope to be not miserable when I stuff an air conditioner under this flap. Now, I'm going to take some boards or something to keep it off the ground, right? I want to try to make it as friendly as possible, but we're going to shove an air conditioner in this hole in the back of the tent. I'm going to figure out, you're going to have to keep the roof on it. Going to have to keep the roof on it to even make it cool. So maybe at night it might get it down and sleep comfortably. Plus the noise. When you're in a camper, the walls aren't very thick, but you've got an air, or you've got a fan. My camper has one of those ducted air conditioners, right? So it blows, and we leave the fan on all night. Maybe we don't have the air conditioner on, but I leave the fan running all night. So you get that blocking out a lot of the noise. Like little critters scurrying around under the camper, or climbing up onto your picnic table, licking the grease off the picnic table, or turning over. I went to one campground, woke up the next day. There was pieces of watermelon all around the campground, all around my camper, and we had bought some drinks at Walmart, and I didn't put them inside. I just set them on the ground under the camper, and they were in cans. And we found one of the cans laying over next to the camper. It had a hole punched in it, like a little canine had bit into it, and bit it so hard that it punched the aluminum can. And I'd love to have seen whatever it was. I'm guessing it was raccoons, because this place we were camping, raccoons come out during the day and wandered around your campground, your campsite. So it's probably a raccoon. Pulled one of those things off and got his, gnawed it and punctured it. I'd love to have seen it, because it's a warm soda, right? And when he punctured it, and after rolling it around on the ground and getting it out of the little packet, it had to just spew all over his face, his hair, everything. I'd love to have seen it. It would have been great. But Were you sleeping in a tent when you found the copperhead under your sleeping bag, or were you just like laying out there under the stars? Because I don't think my son, when he was younger, and maybe he still does, him and some friends would go here on our land, and they would just go down to the field and, you know, sleep under the stars. Sometimes they didn't even take, they just take blankets or something. I could not, I repeat, I could not do that. So the copperhead got into the tent and was under your sleeping bag. Is this the story I'm hearing? So this is my glamping story about putting an air conditioner in a tent on the island across from Rockingham Boat Dock. But it was in the tent with you. Never leave your tent unzipped. Or make sure you got one that doesn't have a snake hole somewhere in it. Of course, I'd have to be in the tent, right? I don't think I don't know, a snake may slither under the tent, but you wouldn't know. That just killed me. No, thank you. So, air conditioner in a tent. So, and my wife, she doesn't seem to be too concerned about tent camping near the beach. In a tent. You know what she's worried about is not having to go to the grocery store every day or every other day to buy food. So we've got like ice coolers. And then I've got a cooler that's made by Coleman, and you can plug it into an outlet or a 12-volt system. And I don't know exactly how it works, but it will keep the inside of the cooler about, depending on how hot it is or if it's in direct sunlight, but about 10 to 15 degrees cooler than the outside air. So I've had really good luck with it outside, keeping drinks and stuff cold. You throw it under the camper at nighttime. Let's say when it gets down to 70 or 60s, depending on where you're at, it works all night long, and it cools everything in there to, 10 or 15 degrees, and sometimes cooler than the outside air because, it's cool outside. It's not having to work as hard. So then, as long as you don't get into it a bunch throughout the day, and you keep it in the shade, it'll warm up, but it doesn't get hot. And then it does it the next day. And it kind of does a little bit of a roller coaster, but it keeps things fairly cool. But you wouldn't want to keep your sandwich meat and your eggs and your cheese and things like that in there, or things you didn't want to spoil, because it does. It goes up and down, up and down, up and down. And so, it might be, 50, 55 in there, or 60 sometimes throughout the day, depending on, like I said, how hot it is. So, what do you do? And I'm not going to say I'm going to take a full-size refrigerator camping. That'd be super, super glamping. If you were to like put a full-size refrigerator in the back of your pickup truck and carry it and you offload it, put it there and you'll plug it into the outlet. No. I'm not that bad, but I think we will take an apartment-sized, a dormitory-sized refrigerator with us, because I've got one. Got one that my girls had when they were at college. So I've got one of those. So I'm going to step up my glamping game. I've got an air conditioner, and I'll raise you a dorm fridge. So nowadays trucks have a fridge built in. Yeah. And they should for 80 grand, 90 grand. You ought to have a neck massager and a masseuse built in my book. But mine's just got my My Titan has a 12-volt power source built into the bed. That's how fancy-dancy that thing is. So, I got a busted camper. Going to push it to the side. Going to take this big old Klondike 8 tent to the beach. I'm going to shove a air conditioner in this back vent. And then somewhere, maybe, the refrigerator might go in the screen room. Or I'm also going to take our Easy Up. So we might figure out where it could be the most shaded. Well, what kind of truck were you talking about that has a fridge built in? Not just a pickup truck? $80,000 truck, good luck. Maybe a pickup. So what kind of truck were you talking about? So I don't know. A big rig. My brother-in-law, in his rig, I was talking to him one day and he was talking about, he's got a heat pump. A heat pump. I said, what? He goes, yeah, it's a heat pump that goes in he's got this box somewhere on the back, and it heats and cools his rig. Just like I forget what they call, oh, he says, yeah, APU. I think that sounds about right. Yeah, I think that's what he called it. Because he had trouble with it. And he, back and forth with the manufacturer and some other things about it. Just didn't do something right, or it wouldn't shut off on cold, hot, something. I don't know. But anyway, a heat pump. Okay. Never heard of that. Never heard of it. So, this may be, I won't say the most miserable. It has the potential to be not so miserable, but maybe not so great. Because at the beach, the thing I hate about the tent is I don't care what you do. You can't keep the outside, and you can't keep it from coming to the inside. That's just, this one has a screen room, but it's not going to stop there. It's going to be in the tent. It's going to be in the tent. Now, you could also say, well, it's in the camper. Yes. But now when we go to the beach, and I probably will take this anyway, the big mat that goes out in front of your camper, right? The thing you roll up, I'll probably take that. It'll be somewhere outside the screen room, or maybe part of it up under the screen room because it's pretty good size. And then that way, you walk, the shoes won't go in the tent. Shoes always stay outside. Maybe we can keep it fairly clean and keep the sand out. But I don't know. Oh, auxiliary power unit. If that means it's a heat pump, then yeah, that's what he's got. That's what he's got. Oh, I don't know. So this thing's supposed to come. We read the reviews, and so I'm going to set it up. Maybe I'll do a little video on that. I don't want to do videos, but I can't do everything live, right? So I might do a video or something, walk around, maybe a review of it. I don't know. But some people said it leaked around the scene. So I think the camp thing's not until June. So I got time, set it up. And what do you do when you set up a tent? You gotta sleep in it. You gotta stay outside and sleep in it, right? So we'll set it up, hose it down, look for leaks, seam seal it if I have to, spray it down with whatever, because it's supposed to be new. But in order to get a cheap price, I hate saying price, Clell, you'll know why. But to get the cheap price, I had to get it from a person that doesn't accept returns. I know. It's a gamble. But the description on eBay said it was new. So if it comes and it's not new, then he doesn't have to accept returns. eBay will give me my money back. So, and it was a really good price. So we'll set it up, hose it down, let it dry out. If I have to, I'll camp seal it, seam seal it, aerosol spray it, whatever, and then test it again. I'm going to have it waterproof because I don't care. You go to the beach, it's going to rain. It can rain just, 10-minute shower or something, but it's going to rain. I don't, almost every time I go, it rains. So, but we don't have the camper. So I'm at a quandary of what all and what all not to take. Already, see, air conditioner, dormitory fridge, the big rug, okay? Got to take the chairs, all right? Got to have beach equipment. All that stuff used to go in the camper. Lots of storage, 29 foot. Lots of storage, right? All that stuff used to go in there. We carry stuff in the truck too, right? But so I'm having an issue about what I think I'm going to take. Roberto has sent me a picture. Okay. So this picture that he sent me is of I call them overlanders. This sign here says Outland Motor Works. But if you know what overlanding is, it's a fancy setup that people use four-wheel drive. And a lot of times it's a tent on top of a Jeep or a 4Runner or, whatever it might be. So these look like, I like the one in the middle where just the nose of the Jeep is sticking out. And then everything, it looks like from really the rear view mirror back is covered in tint on both sides of the Jeep. And on top too. That's crazy. That's crazy. So most of the time, the overlander rigs that I've seen set up is your sleeping area is on top, and it's got this thing that folds down on one side to make a large living area on the ground. But when you go to sleep, it's all on top of the rig, and it's on like a work rack, a big old work rack. So, and that seems like it's really cool. Then they have a ladder that goes up to where you're sleeping, and then, like I said, down around the ground, is where your living area is, and sitting area and that kind of stuff. So it would be like if this tent were on a Jeep, the Jeep would be under here, under the sleeping area. And then this screen room would come out from the side and go all the way down to the ground and be, tacked out that way. But yeah, I mean, some of those setups for overlanding is just just unbelievable. And then they fold up, go back into a container on top of the Jeep or whatever that might be doing it. But so I don't know what all to take. I'm worried about fire. I got to have a campfire. So I'm worried about rocks and stuff because we've got just a regular campsite. So what normally you'd park your camper is gravel. And that's the most level spot there is usually about the campsites. So I don't know what to do about that part. I don't know what to do about protecting the underside of the tent, because I want to set it up where the gravel is, because that's where your picnic table is. That's where your water and electricity are. I don't know what my site looks like. Sometimes that's the only place that's even remotely shaded is where the camper would normally park. So I'd like to throw something down under it, some type of carpeting, something to help pad that or protect the floor of the tent and my feet from rocks and sticks and all that stuff. So I don't know. It's a quandary. But still considered, if I was just taking a tent and everything, that's just camping. Pushing the glamping with the air conditioner, pushing it right there, I think maybe nowadays air conditioner in a tent is not that uncommon. But if I'm going to take a refrigerator, even though it's a dorm size, I'm making that jump to glamping. That's in my book, I'm glamping, which I didn't want to do. I'd rather be camping in my camper. So, let's see, floor size is 16 by 11. That's including the screen room. Peak height 78 inches, so in the middle you can stand up, walk around. Probably have to duck down to go through the door, because you can tell right here it's a circular door, so you don't get, full height. You have to duck down. I'm not that tall anyway. There's benefits to being a shorter person. A lot of times. You can fit in all kinds of cars, all that kind of stuff. Makes it nice. Little convertibles. So, there it is. And I haven't slept in a big tent like this since I was a teenager, or even before. Can't remember the last time I went sleeping. We used to have an old cloth Coleman tent that took like 45 minutes to set up. It was heavy. It was huge. And I don't even remember if it had I'm pretty sure it had a built-in floor. I'm pretty sure it did. We had cots. Now these cots weren't like, I don't think, what Clell has. Clell, does yours stretch the material really tight? I remember yours folded up somehow. And as I recall, it wasn't really tight. It kind of maybe sway back a little bit. I don't know. Does it stretch it really tight? Like you can bounce a quarter off of it? Those ones that we had were aluminum framed, and you'd pull them out, and then they had these, somehow they would clip down to the legs, and it would pull it extremely tight. And they weren't, they were bouncy. I still have one, but the material's tore, so it's a no-go on sleeping on it or anything like that anymore. So I can't remember. You said there made a comment about Army cot, but I don't know if it was an Army cot. Yeah, stretches tarp tight. Okay. So I don't think that would be bad. I mean, if I had to go out, I would probably, if I had the choice, let's just say if somebody said, hey, you can take an air mattress or you can take this cot, I would probably do the cot for one simple reason, is that you don't have to basically get on the ground to lay on it. You know what I mean? So with a cot, you could just sit on it and then just lay down. You don't have to get down on your hands and knees and then lay down on it's raised off the floor. And I know they make air mattresses now that's got this thing you put under them, like a frame. No, I don't have that. I've got one, it's about this thick, and it blows up and you lay it on the ground. When I've gone motorcycle camping with just a little pup tent kind of deal, single two-person, I used to take a blow-up floaty mattress that you would use in a swimming pool. Why? Because they were just big enough for a single person, right? You could let the air out of them, roll them up really tight. They had their own separate pillow. So you didn't have to take a pillow, right? And I'm talking these old school ones that had the bladders. You know, bladder would run down and back up the middle and down on the other side, and then you'd blow up the pillow would be, you know, separate but attached to the regular mattress, floaty mattress, whatever you want to call it, the old school stuff. And you could buy them. You could buy them at the dollar store, you know, nowadays for $2 or something. But that's what I would take. And you just blow it up and then lay on it. And you couldn't get it really tight. You couldn't get it too full, right? Because then you just bounce all the time. So you let a little bit of the air out and it made it squishy. But depending on what material they're made out of, it squeaked. Every time you'd roll over or move, you know, it would make that squeaky plastic noise. It was pretty funny, but it worked. Is it stupid if it works? Probably still is stupid, but it worked. And roll it up, man. Throw it, you know, put a string around it. Try not to puncture it. It'd be good to go. You could sleep on that thing. Not a problem. So, air mattress over a cot? No, I'd get a cot so that you could just lay, you know, just sit down on it and just lay over, go right to sleep. And you'd be up off the ground, you know. So when you had to get up, you didn't have to roll over and get up on your hands and knees and then stand up, you know. You could just, you know, kind of swing your feet over and get them on the ground and stand up. So, but I don't have a cot. I got air mattresses. Gonna do it. Gonna do it that way. All right. So, I think that's about it for my little venture A into camping. Not gonna be hammock camping. Landon, it didn't show up. So, I'm not gonna talk about hammock camping anymore because, you know, it's gonna be me and the wife. That would be kind of cool though. You go hammock camping. Get you one of those big. I did see military tent that had a bottom built in. The thing was huge. Whole neighborhood of kids slept in it. Yeah. One time I went when I was a teenager. It wasn't for Boy Scouts. It was for, I don't know, those teens. They called it the Explorer Post. And we went on a canoe trip, like 5 days, as I recall. And I can't remember where we put in at. I think we may have put in up at, golly. It was up near Hilton's, Virginia. Maybe it was Hilton's. What's the place? Is it near Hilton's and there's just a post office there? Is that Hilton's? Or is there another little old place like that the whole thing's just a post office? But anyway, South Fork, North Fork of the Holston River goes down through there. Ended up putting in there and ended up in Kingsport, basically. Anyway, we had borrowed Boy Scout tents, which were the big old canvas tents, but they didn't have floors in them. So, you know, you had to take a tarp if it rained or something. 10 by 10 easy up camping. You can get sidewall kits for them now, my bro. Yeah, I looked at those. No, it wasn't Galax. It was up near Hilton somewhere. I could probably take you there. But there's a little the post office, as I recall, I think you can see the river from the post office. But it may have been Hilton's. Someplace in Hilton's, like, you know, as you drive through these places, you'll go through little communities and things. It was just a post office. But there was a place there that you could put in right next to a bridge. And we canoed. Borrowed all that stuff from the Boy Scouts somehow. I don't know. Yeah, I started to get one of those easy up screen, and it's not a screen, I know what it is. It's walls with the door in it and all that kind of stuff. But I don't think it had a floor. Does that one that you're looking at have a floor in it? I can't remember now. The thing I liked about it was, of course, it's a 10 by 10, you know, and so, but the downside of it is, see, with this tent, I have a tent, and then I can also take the easy up. So I'm going to put the easy up over the picnic table and that kind of place, or maybe position it somewhere close to the tent to create, you know, a shade. Because, you know, one thing to help keep a tent cool is shade. So if we get a camping spot that doesn't have any trees or anything like that, I figure I could set the, you know, the 10 by 10 up, the easy up, somewhere as the sun was coming in, and put shade on the tent, and therefore, you know, help maybe keep it. So it does have a floor. Okay. I couldn't remember. The one I was looking at, I think was made by Coleman. Let's just say it was, because I can't really remember. But anyway, it showed it attached to a Coleman Easy Up. And it looked like you could attach it to almost any Easy Up, really. But I wasn't sure, because mine's an old, I don't want to even call mine's not Easy Up in my book, but I wasn't sure. So, but anyway, so I get this tent. Maybe I'll do another review. I want to try this weekend to do my breakfast pocket. And it's probably a bad name for it, but that's what I'm going to call it, because maybe it'll make people watch it just to find out what the devil a breakfast pocket is. So I think I'm going to try that. And then when this comes, maybe I'll do, you know, set it up and do a walk around and spray water all over it and see what happens. But anyway, appreciate you guys coming and hanging out and telling me your copperhead stories. Even though now I'm afraid, I don't know, maybe the campgrounds are so populated, copperheads wouldn't come around. But I have stayed in Florida and was coming back from the bathhouse, and armadillos were around the camper digging up, you know, like possums will or whatever, for grubs in the ground. That was kind of weird. Armadillos are weird little things, you know, because they carry around the leprosy virus, whatever. You can't eat them. You can't wrestle with them. You can't bite them back or nothing, because you catch leprosy that way. Just remember that. Never bite a armadillo. All right. Well, appreciate it. And keep an eye out if you're watching this after it's live. I appreciate you. Just tell your friends, tell your buddies, your enemies, your ex-girlfriends, your ex-wives, anybody. Stop them on the street. Say Minutes with Milo needs a couple more followers. Possums on the half shell. No. Nope. No armadillo meat. Stay away. That's a word from the wise. The bearded, hairless one. Bearded, hairless one has told you, stay away. Stay away from armadillo meat. All right. Wave bye-bye to everybody, Mr. Fingerman.